Hi students, I am Sandhya from Paramguru Pathshala English Medium School Sarsa. Today I am going to discuss second chapter from Standard 9 Social Science book, and the name of the chapter is First World War and Russian Revolution Part 3. Part 1 and Part 2 I already discussed in my last video. So let's go ahead with the third part of this chapter. Now we were discussing effects of First World War, immediate effects. That points we were discussing, and the third point is the Treaty of Versailles. It is in June 1919. At the end of the First World War, the unconditional surrender of Germany in front of the Allied nations brought an end to the war. Now, as you all know that in the last video I discussed that how Germany surrendered in front of USA. Now, just because of the surrender of Germany in front of Allied nations, they thought now it's the end of the war. Then the Allied nations undertook the peace process in Paris, in which some 58 commissions were formed and 145 sessions were organized. Now, after the war, Allied nations thought that there should be peace now in all the countries, and for that they formed 58 commissions, and for 145 sessions they had organized. The agreement made with Germany during the Paris peace process was made in the Mirror Palace at Versailles. So now the agreement was made with Germany for the peace process, and it was organized in the Mirror Palace at Versailles. Thus, it came to be known as the Versailles Treaty. Now, everybody got together in the Mirror Palace in Versailles, and that's why they had given the name Versailles Treaty. There were 4 provisions in the Treaty of Versailles. So, 4 rules were there. First one is regional arrangement. Second, reproduction in troops and disarmament. Third, the arrangement of distribution of gains at the end of the war and war fine, and fourth number is other provisions. Now, for the Treaty of in the Treaty of Versailles, they thought that there should be some rules, and for that they had given this many rules, 4 rules, and for that first one is regional arrangement. Second, there should be reproductions in troops, and third one is the arrangements of distribution of gains at the end of the war and war fine. So if there is war again in the future, then they have to give war fine, and there will be many other provisions they had framed. Now, who were the present in these commissions? So the American President Woodrow Wilson, British Prime Minister Lord George, French President Clemenceau, and Italian President Orlando played an important role in this treaty. So this treaty had made, Treaty of Versailles. So these are the main prime ministers and presidents who came to, or who had played their major role. Germany was found responsible for the war. So in this treaty they discussed that Germany was the reason, and Germany had spread the war everywhere. A war fine of 6.5 billion pound was imposed on Germany. Now see, in the provisions they had said that they should pay war fine, and that's why everybody discussed in the treaty, and they decided that Germany should pay war fine, and they had given 6.5 billion pound on Germany, a war fine. It had to give away the Ruhr region to France. Its Rhine river had to be opened for international sea route. Now, what happened? They had to give away the road region to France. Germany has to give away, okay, and even there was a Rhine river, so Germany was to forced to open this river for international sea route. The Rhineland region on French border was disallowed from being a fortress, as well as this mineral rich region was given away to France for 15 years. Now what happened afterwards? Okay, they had even taken fine, as well as they had said that they have to give Rhineland to French border for 15 years as a war fine. So or as a result of war, they had to give away Rhineland to French border for the mineral rich region. Okay, if there were minerals, and for that reason, for the trading purpose, Germany has to give French this Rhineland. Most of the German organizations were confiscated. Okay, now what happened? Most of the German organizations were scattered, everything was destroyed, everything was now means nothing was there now. Alsace and Lorraine were to be returned to France. Now see, in the last video we discussed that Germany had taken Alsace and Lorraine from the France. So when they lose the war, they had to submit even Alsace and Lorraine. These were the colonies that Germany had taken away from France. So after the war, when they lost the war, France again asked for these two colonies, and what to do? They had to return. Besides this, Germany was to give France and other allied nations a large quantity of coal and iron annually as the benefits of war. Now see, everything they had taken, even 6.5 billion pounds they had to give, Rhineland they have to give, okay, even the two colonies, okay, Alsace and Lorraine also they had to return. Besides this, means this many things they had already given, but besides this they also had to give large quantity of coal and iron annually as the benefits of war. So just because of this war they had to give coal and iron also. Now what happened afterwards? Germany was made to sign these terms and conditions on gunpoint and forcibly, because of which there were bitterness and desperation among us Germans. Now gunpoint means they had kept gunpoint on Germany, and everything they had made to sign Germany. Now what happened? Depression was there, bitterness was there, because Germany was not like this. Okay, Germany was not about to surrender, but what happened? They lost the war, and just because of the reason they had to give away all these things to France and other allied nations. And what happened afterwards? Consequently, the German economy failed miserably. Now nothing was left to Germany. Germany became poor, so much poor, very badly poor, and that's why German economy failed miserably. In a very bad way, German economy got failed. Now what are the long term effects? Let's see. There was a feeling of revenge in signing the treaty with the nations that were defeated in the war. Now see, this many things had been done with the Germany, and that's why what happened, the feeling of revenge got started with the other nations. Okay, so feeling of revenge in signing the treaty with the nations that were defeated in the war. Peace could not be established with the treaty. Okay, they thought that if you want peace, for peace there should not be any treaty. Okay, so means peace cannot be established with the treaty. Socialist Russia was not given a place in the League of Nations. Now see, they had organized peace community or for the peace progress, but what happened? They had not invited Russia. Okay, all the other allied nations were there, but only Russia was not there. See, you all know that I discussed in my last video that Russia had withdrew from the war because there was a Russian revolution was going on, and that's why what happened in peace progress, they had not given a place, or in the League of Nations they had not given a place to Russia. America did not join the League of Nations, even America did not join. So that's why it can be said that the reason for the Second World War was in the peace process of the First World War itself. Now see, here the peace process was going on, but they did not give chance, they did not give place to Russia and America. So in the peace process only they had given reason for the Second World War. So here see, in the peace process only they had given the chance for the Second World War, because they did not call Russia and America did not join, but still, okay, in the peace process only they were gathered for peace process, but see what happened afterwards, nothing. Okay, there was a reason, okay, it was a reason for the Second World War. Now let's see the Russian Revolution, okay, or it is also known as Bolshevik Revolution. The Russian Revolution, it happened in 1917, is considered as an important event in world history. The Russian had been oppressed and suppressed by the Tsar of Russia. Tsar was the king, emperor, okay, and people of Russia was suppressed, oppressed, means harassed by this emperor. Now what happened? The Russian Tsars who inherited the position were all dictators and enjoyed uncontrolled rule over people. Now this emperor, this king, what he had done, he had enjoyed uncontrolled rule. He was so greedy, okay, he had never thought for the people, and that's why he inherited the position, means by inheritance he had got this position, and that was the reason that he enjoyed a lot, okay, without any kind of thoughts, he really enjoyed, and that's why people were suppressed and oppressed by him. People did not have any rights during this period. See, people did not have any right, means this Tsar, this emperor did not give any kind of chance to people to think, to say something, and that's why people did not have any rights. The Tsars were so cruel and pitiless on people that if anyone demanded for any rights, he was tortured, suppressed, and severely punished or condemned to be sent to the bone chilling and dead cold of Serbia. Now see what this Tsar was doing. Okay, he was so cruel, he was human, he was not human, okay, he had not pity, he was a pitiless person. So if anybody demanded for any rights, okay, for any kind of rights, what he was doing, he was torturing, he was suppressing, and he was punished, and he was sending these people to Serbia. Now I hope you know about Serbia. In Serbia there is too much cold, okay, minus 45 degree or something temperature is there, so if they will send you to Serbia, you will surely die. So that's why he was sent to bone chilling and dead cold of Serbia. So he was sending the people to Serbia. Such a cruel person was Tsar. This uncontrolled and oppressive tsardom became the reason for grief, poverty, and suffering among people. Now see, this was the reason, tsardom, okay, Tsar was there and he did not give chance to anybody to explain something for the rights. They cannot demand any rights, and that's why in Russia, okay, there was a grief, poverty, and suffering. People were suffering because they cannot ask anything, they cannot do anything, because there was a rule of Tsar, and Tsar was enjoying everything, he was not worried for anybody, and that's why this was the condition of people in Russia. The Russian farmers, laborers, and peasants were not getting enough income, not getting enough income despite working very hard. Now what happened? The Russian farmers, laborers, peasants were not getting enough income though they were working hard. So whatever they are working, they are not getting enough money. They became very poor, and that was the reason that all Russian people became very poor, especially those who were farmers, those who were laborers, those who were peasants, okay, those who were earning regularly every day for their food. These people were very oppressed by the Tsar. Under the leadership of Father Gapon, a large rally was taken out to the Tsar's residence, Winter Palace, on 22nd January 1905 Sunday. Now there was the Father Gapon, okay, he had organized a large rally for the Tsar's residence, and it was at the Winter Palace, and the date was 22nd January 1905 Sunday. It was a Sunday. Now what happened? See, these people were unarmed, while some had the Tsar's picture in hand with captions like "Long live the little white lord of Russia" written on it. Now they had organized, the Father Gapon, means under the leadership of Father Gapon, they had organized one rally, and on that rally they had given some symbols like "Long live the little white lord of Russia." It was the slogans for the Tsar. The Tsar's army opened fire on these innocent people, and because of which thousands of innocent people died, and the snow in Petersburg, where the Tsar's palace was situated, turned red with blood. Now see, these people were in the rally, okay, and they were speaking slogans. So what happened afterwards? The Tsar's army was there, and what they had done, they had killed these people, opened fire on these innocent people, okay, they were very innocent, but still, just because of the Tsar's army, these thousands people died. And it was in the Petersburg, okay, where the Tsar's palace was situated. So it was in the Petersburg, and there was a Tsar's palace. And what happened? This Tsar's army has killed everything, killed everybody. So the Tsar's palace turned red with blood. See, there was the snow in the Petersburg, and in Petersburg there was a palace of Tsar, and they killed. So just because of the blood of these innocent people, that place turned red, and that is the reason that this day is known as Bloody Sunday in history. See, in the last slide I told you the date, okay, it was a Sunday, okay, date and year, and it was a Sunday, and this thing had happened on Sunday, and that's why in history this day is known as Bloody Sunday. Around this time, a large number of Russians got provoked and became restless, as the weaknesses of the Tsardom had become obvious when a small nation like Japan had defeated a massive nation like Russia in the Russian-Japan war. Now at this time, okay, Russian was so restless, they were not happy, and Tsardom was not at all a good person. So there was a war in Japan, in between Japan and Russia, and in this war Russia was defeated. In order to pacify the angry Russians, an announcement to call for a Duma legislative assembly, which had not been called for years, was made. Now in order to angry the Russians, okay, see, they lost the war, and that's why the announcement, okay, there was an announcement for Duma legislative assembly. It was an assembly just like we have Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, right? So they had not called for years. Eventually, for such Duma were called, but before it can take steps to satisfy the citizens, it had been called off. But before it can steps to satisfy the citizens, means if he wanted to do something for the citizens, for the satisfaction, but before it was called off. Before it came on the 8th March 1917, the oppressed workers of Petrograd called for a strike. Now what happened on 8th March? They had gone on strike. The Tsar sent his troops to suppress this event. Now what the Tsar had done? He had sent all his troops, all his armies to suppress this event, but the army refused to shoot these people. Now see what happened. They denied the order of Tsar, order of the emperor. They refused to shoot these people. As a result, the revolution began. Now why this revolution had begun? Just because of this reason, because the army denied, the troops denied. After the fall of the Tsardom, the power fell into the hands of Kerensky, leader of Mensheviks group. Now what happened? There was a fall of Tsardom because people were not now giving proper answer to Tsardom. They were not ready to do according to Tsardom. So there was a fall of Tsar. And who came afterwards? Kerensky, the leader of Mensheviks group. Except for Lenin, everyone in Russia was happy with the fall of the Tsar. Okay, there was a person whose name was Lenin. He was only not happy with the fall of Tsar. Okay, everybody was happy because Tsar was harassing everybody. He was not doing anything good with the people, and that's why everybody was happy in Russia except this person Lenin. Okay, everybody thought that now our good days are coming. Okay, everybody was very happy, and that's why only except Lenin everybody was so happy. But Lenin believed in the importance of laborers as propagated by Karl Marx, while the Menshevik group believed in the importance of the middle class. Now there is a reason, okay, why Lenin was not happy, because Lenin was thinking that now people or the king should work for the poor people, whereas this Menshevik group, okay, they were thinking that now I should give importance to middle class people. Okay, so middle class people should be there, and that's why now Lenin was not happy. Okay, he was believed for the importance of laborers, but Menshevik group was thinking that now I should do something for the middle class. As a result, Lenin instigated the Bolsheviks against Mensheviks, and in November 17 declared the final revolution and got the reins in his hands. Now just because of this reason, okay, Lenin and this Menshevik group, they were opposite. So that's why that was the reason that both got against, okay, Bolsheviks and Menshevik, and they declared a final revolution. And after the revolution, this Bolshevik, okay, they got the power. This came to be known as the Socialist Bolshevik Revolution. Now see, Russian Revolution is also known as Bolshevik Revolution just because Lenin was from the Bolshevik group. Okay, and after the war between Bolshevik and Menshevik, Bolshevik got the power. Okay, the Bolshevik had Bolshevik was won this war, and that's why it is also known as Bolshevik Revolution. This came to be known as the Socialist Bolshevik Revolution. Thus, the 100 years of old Tsardom came to an end. For the first time, and Russia was without a Tsar. Now, 13 years of old Tsardom came to an end. Now there was no power of Tsar. There was Russia, okay, without Tsar. Now, efforts for world peace. The League of Nations, the horrors of the World War, explained the absolute necessity of world peace to the nations of the world. Now they thought that now there should be world peace in everywhere, and for this they called international organization. So it became necessary to think actively and immediately about the world peace. Now everything was over, so that's why they thought, okay, people thought, allied nations thought that there should be now world peace. The American President Woodrow Wilson had contributed substantially in the establishment of the League of Nations. So that's why, okay, American president had also contributed for the establishment of peace. The 14 points suggested by Woodrow Wilson were presented during the Paris Peace process on 10th January 1920. So this president of America had given 14 points for the world peace, and the League of Nations was the League of Nations was formed. Means for the world peace, the League of Nations was formed. Now, what were the aims of the League of Nations? First one was to maintain international peace and security. Okay, there should be peace and security. Second, every nation to respect the unity and integrity of other nations. Means everybody should respect. To give up the policy of war, means there should not be war now. To develop international relations, to solve international disputes peacefully through negotiation or meditations. If any nation ignores the League of Nations or its meditations, it would be declared as a rebel nations. Now see, the League of Nations, okay, League of Nations was formed for the world peace, and that's why they decided some aims and rules. Okay, so first there should be peace and security. Second, everyone should respect unity and integrity of other nations. Now there should not be war. Okay, we have to develop international relations, and they have to solve international disputes through negotiation, through conversation, okay, and meditations. And if any nation is not ready, then that nation will be declared as a rebel nation. Now the last point of this chapter is the League of Nations was established for world peace, did not manage to keep a control over the imperialist policies of the superpowers, and in 1939 the Second World War began. Now what happened? The League of Nations established for world peace and did not manage to keep control, and that's why the Second World War started in 1939. See, all you know that League of Nations was established for world peace, and there should not be war. But what happened? They did not manage, they did not control, and that's why the Second World War started in 1939. I hope students you understood. Thank you students for listening.